Scent is an incredible tool for association, both conscious and subconscious. How many times have you smelled something and you had a good thought, you had a good memory, you thought of somebody you loved? How many times have you had the exact opposite happen, where you smell something in particular and you have a negative reaction, right? You remember something sad, you remember something that makes you, hurt or, whatever. Your sense of smell can stimulate both good and bad feelings. And that's why, in my personal opinion, I think that your sense of smell is like the powerhouse of senses. It triggers something unseen, but it impacts you in major ways, both in the present, right? You have a good smell and you love it. And then when you remember it, when you encounter that smell again, okay, it's like it impacts you now and it impacts you in the future. As you know, I am curating my perfume collection and just my fragrance in general, my scent mood in general, and I'm also curating my personal brand, and I'm using perfume and fragrance to do that. An important element of any personal brand is that you want people to associate positive things with you, okay? When they encounter you, you want them to basically associate you with a good thing, okay? A good feeling, a good memory, a good, just a good vibe. You want people to associate good things with you. And you want them to remember you when they encounter similar things in their day-to-day life, right? If your brand is completely green and then they see something green and think of your brand, you have good branding. And personally, with this topic, I think that there is no better way to sort of have this brand association than with your sense of smell. Because once again, your sense of smell is insanely powerful. So today, I am going to go over sort of the three thoughts, feelings, and sensations that I want people to feel when they encounter my brand. And I'm going to share the smells that I personally associate with those thoughts and feelings and how I sort of want to incorporate those into my brand. So first, we're going to talk about the feelings I want people to feel, the feelings that I want you to feel when you encounter me. And the first one is safety. Safety has always been a number one priority for me. And you might think, oh, physical safety, which yes, that is a thing that I obviously am that's very important to me. I'm a pretty protective person, but I mean safety in the sense that you are safe to be who you are. I am a safe person. I am a person that, people feel comfortable around, people feel safe around, people feel safe to be who they are around me. And more than that people feel safe to share, what their dreams are, what their thoughts are, what their feelings are, that they feel safe to share mistakes that they've made. They feel safe to make more mistakes when they are around me. Just this feeling of safety, I feel like safety, creates this level of comfort. It creates this level of ease when you are around a safe person. And that is precisely what I really do try to create. The feeling that I'm trying to create is where it's like, I am safe to explore the unknown, basically. I am safe to say, you know what, like, this is what I'm thinking. This is my dream. And I feel like I'm safe to do that in my presence. I feel like I'm safe to do that when I'm around her, just because she's exploratory and she is very, she's a safe person. She's not judgmental and she's safe. And so that's the first feeling that I want people to feel is safety. And that ties in with the second feeling, which is calm and comfort. I feel like, when you are safe, when you feel safe, then you feel like you have permission to be calm and you are able to be comfortable, okay? You are able to reach this place of comfort and that you have permission to slow down, that you have permission to relax and to think. I think that we live in a very fast-paced environment. I would say world, but there's parts of the world that are not fast-paced. And so I think that particularly in the US, probably in a lot of other places as well, but in the US, it's what I know, we're very fast-paced. Everything is do it now, instant gratification, you need to succeed, and you need to succeed in 30 days, and all of that sort of stuff. And I am trying to create an environment where it's like, you're safe, and you are safe to calm down. Like, to be honest, like, calm the frick down. there's no reason to panic, to freak out, or to rush. And so I really want to create a space where it's like you are able to relax, you are able to reflect, you're able to think, you're able to really gather yourself. I think that is crucial for understanding your personal brand in particular, just because, I know that I've been, I've gotten sucked into that whole fast-paced environment and, I need to be this or that or the other thing. And it made me deny who I am, and it made me deny what I love and what's important to me. And when I took the time to slow down and actually think and okay, who am I? What do I love? What is important to me? When I slowed down and actually thought about that, I was able to get to the heart of what I wanted to do, and I was able to find my purpose. And so calm, comfort, that is a priority. That is a priority. That is a feeling priority for my brand. And the third feeling is limitless. Okay, I want people to feel limitless around me. I have definitely experienced those limiting feelings before. Okay, those feelings where it's like, oh, that's not possible. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are dreaming this big? That kind of stuff doesn't happen to people like us. Or, you have to do it like this because this is the only way you can succeed. I have experienced that firsthand, and it was not in alignment, okay? It wasn't aligned with who I am. I have a very limitless, point of view. I have a very limitless perspective on life. I don't really see, I look at Taylor Swift and think, she's just a human being, so why can't I achieve the same exact form of greatness? Not necessarily an empire, but success and achievement, okay? I don't see people who have achieved a lot as any different than me, okay? I don't see them as being special or, the chosen ones. I see them as, that's really inspiring, and I'm going to sort of negotiate, and I'm going to try and emulate some of those things and those habits and those, I don't see a difference between them and me. And I don't see a difference between them and you. And so I have a very limitless point of view, and I want people around me to feel limitless. I want the people around me to feel like, oh, when I talk to her, I just feel like anything is possible. When I talk to her, I feel like I can let my imagination run wild and just be insane and nuts, and there's no limitation, and she doesn't look at me and say, okay, but that's not really gonna happen, right? I want people to feel like they are limitless when they are around me, and that they have permission to dream and to pursue those dreams. These three feelings and elements are at the core of how I want to make people feel, and the feelings that I want people to associate with me. Everything I do within my brand and within my personal life, I want to circle back to those three feelings, okay? I want to circle back to, this is what I want to make people feel like. This is the environment that I want to create when people are around me, and for myself. And so I do that in a number of ways within my brand. For instance, I am a business consultant, okay? I help small business owners, grow their business. I help people build their business and develop their business. I'm actually currently working on a workbook that helps people who are building businesses from the ground up. It's designed to help people work through those questions and answer those questions that they need to know and understand in order to build their business. And everything I do within this, entrepreneurial sphere, we're going to say, business consulting and this workbook I'm creating, everything is designed with that perspective of nothing's off the table. The world is your oyster. You are safe to dream. You are safe to think outside the box. We're going to do this, at your own pace, right? Take your time. Again, take your freaking time. And so those are the feelings that I'm trying to instill in those elements of my life, as well as this channel. In all areas of my life, I'm trying to instill those feelings, my personal life, all inclusive. So now what I want to do is I want to match some fragrances that make me personally feel those feelings, okay? The fragrances that it's this makes me feel this way, okay? Or fragrance categories or fragrance feelings, the things that stimulate those feelings for me, okay? I want to set the scene. I want to create a mood, create a vibe within my sphere of existence. And so how I'm going to do that that is I'm going to identify 3 sort of scents or scent categories that I'm really going to try and hone in. And so the first one is warmth, okay? Warmth, I feel like really encapsulates both safety, calm, and comfort. And, a lot of the fragrances that go with that are, amber, vanilla, some of your gourmands, sort of more of your smoother, more sophisticated gourmands. And honestly, whenever I think of a warm fragrance, I think of fragrances that put you in mind of cashmere, okay? Sort of those rough but warm but creamy, those really soft fragrances that just sort of wrap you up and make you feel snuggled in, safe, comfortable. I want these smells. I want warm smells. Number one, warm smells to just wrap people up. I want people to feel encased in comfort when they are around me. The second smell category we're gonna say is sophistication, and I know that that's not a fragrance category, but I feel like we sort of know what it means to have a sophisticated smell. Okay, we don't pick up a cotton candy perfume and think sophistication. We think of amber fragrances, we think of very classic timeless fragrances, simple fragrances, that those are very sophisticated. And sophistication really stems from simplicity. Sophistication is no fuss. Okay, sophistication is not about fuss. Sophistication is not about having a lot. Sophistication is about intention and curation. And I did this on purpose, okay? That is sophistication, is that everything you do has a purpose and you did it in a beautiful way, okay? You did this very purposeful thing in a very beautiful way. And so I really want to choose, very simple, well-crafted, beautiful fragrances and balanced fragrances, okay? Fragrances that it's they're not overwhelming and in your face, but that when people smell them, it's oh, wow, that's really, look at you, right? That's sort of what I'm trying to create, is sort of this more of a leveled up feeling, okay? Not unreachable, but a leveled up feeling where it's this is a little bit better than what we are typically smelling or what we are typically around, right? Just being one of those people where it's I just feel like a next level version of myself when I'm around her. And the third fragrance category is dense, okay? I've talked about density a lot here on my channel when I'm talking about fragrances, and personally, whenever I smell a fragrance that I consider very dense or to have dense fragrance notes, it gives me a grounded feeling. I describe it as it gives my mind something to chew on. It gives my mind something to process. It's not fluffy. It's not plush and airy-fairy. It's dense, okay? It might be very feminine, but it has density. And I feel like it almost sort of bears weight, okay? It's when I wear a perfume that's denser, it feels like this is carrying a lot of weight in my life, okay? It's bearing some weight and it's helping me move through life a little bit easier. And so we obviously have our warm fragrance notes, but I feel like there's also a lot of fresher fragrance notes that really have a lot of density. I'm thinking your watery fragrance notes. I think watery fragrance notes water lotus. I've smelled water lotus before. Gorgeous. Suede, those suede or leather fragrance notes that they're just dense, but they have a lightness about them. We're really leaning in to those kinds of fragrance notes just because they feel more supportive and they feel more we know what we're doing, we're grounded. And so I really want to find fragrances, whether it's in my perfume collection, but just in general, right? I'm thinking candles, hand soaps, house scents, fragrances in general that have these fragrances or these fragrance personalities, we're gonna say. Fragrances that help me feel a certain way, okay? I want to feel these, I want to feel this way, but fragrances that also make the people around me feel that way, right? Whether they're coming into my home, whether they are just encountering me out and about, whether we're having a one-on-one conversation, whatever it is, I want to create that feeling. I want to create that pocket, that bubble of feeling with how I smell. And the moment that they smell something similar, that's what I'm trying to get at, is that it triggers something. It triggers positivity. It triggers a good feeling and a good memory, a good, moment with me. And that it triggers this feeling of, I want more of what she has to offer, or I want to be around her more, or I want to learn and have a more conversation with her, right? Just that good feeling. Fragrances that help me feel safe, feel calm and comforted, and limitless. So making me feel that way, but also making people around me feel that way as as well. And if you would like to learn more about my personal brand and how I'm building that personal brand, then I would highly recommend you watch my video where I'm talking about how I am curating my perfume collection to help me build my personal brand.